He will yield to a question.
I'd like to get some clarifications about some statements that were made. You had mentioned earlier that you are a landlord yourself and that this prevents landlords from appropriately screening tenants. Could you tell us what measures you take today to screen your tenants?
Gentleman from Clark.
Sorry. I was wise enough to get out of the landlord business because it's not a great business. So I no longer deal with being a landlord.
Lady from Jefferson.
Will the sponsor yield to a second question, please?
He will yield to another relevant question.
Okay. What I also have heard is that this forces landlords to rent to anyone with a federal housing voucher. And you said that you got out of the business of renting, but when you were still currently a landlord, did you apply to participate in the Housing Choice Voucher Program?
Gentleman from Clark.
Yes, and I have to say my experience has been pretty phenomenal overall. And again, this goes back, many landlords will continue to take Section 8 housing. We just don't want to handcuff them and force them to have to take it. Let's talk about the real issue here. The real issue, nobody's negating the fact that there is a housing crisis. Nobody's negating the fact there's homelessness. But the word discrimination gets thrown around so flippantly because they don't want to sit down and talk about real solutions. They don't want to talk about the local government causing overregulation through planning and zoning. They don't want mobile home parks. No, that's not pretty enough. We don't want some tiny home communities because we don't want to mess up our horse farms. So they cause a problem. City government can sometimes cause a problem, and then they want to put the burden on individual taxpayers, our landlords. They want to handcuff them. No, what we need to do is sit down with local government. Maybe we need a housing task force to see if we can help curb some of that housing issue that we have in our major cities. Secondly, you know, a lot of them, I've had a lot of the Bible thrown at me this week. And it really hits personally when it comes to the scriptures, because I live my life in such a way. I'm not a perfect man by no means, but I take the Word of God seriously. And to question my integrity and to question who I am as a person, that's where I draw the line. So with that being said, many of you all that are standing here speaking in front of the big camera when it's on, you're amped up, you're passionate. But where was your passion when you did not support the unborn? And many of you would go.
Careful, Gentleman from Clark.
Give me a second to catch my breath.
It is not relevant to this conversation.
Well, I will say this. It's easy to throw around names. It's easy to throw around and question someone's integrity when you've not sat down to come up with one solid answer. So today, I think this is just a basic property rights bill. It doesn't discriminate against anybody. It protects black landlords, Hispanic landlords, Pakistani landlords, and even white landlords. It does not discriminate. Let's protect our property rights and let's fix a housing problem.
Lady from Jefferson 34.
May I speak on the bill, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you for that impassioned remark, because you did exactly what you just said that so many here profess that they do and when the cameras are on. I'm going to also let people be responsible for their own emotions, so in your feelings. So if you feel like your integrity is being questioned, I'm going to let you wrestle with that. The truth is that the people that are supporting this are making false statements. I asked prior about the screening your tenants appropriately. The truth is that the Kentucky Housing Corporation Landlord Orientation Book specifically states that landlords are encouraged to use their screening criteria for their tenants, their screening criteria. And the reality is this, and this isn't going to sound nice, but the reality is this: there are a lot of ways that you can screen and still discriminate. What we are asking for is to not use source of income to discriminate solely. What also has been said is that this forces landlords to rent to anyone with a federal housing voucher. You yourself said that you had applied to be part of that program, the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And that's exactly an important point that needs to be made. You have to apply. You have to say, I would like to participate in this program. No one is forcing you to participate in a program unless you voluntarily say, I would like to be part of the solution. I don't think it will come as a shock to anyone that source of income discrimination appropriately or disproportionately affects renters of color and women and the elderly who are often on a fixed income and those with disabilities. That's been stated. But there are also broader economic and social ramifications. It limits housing choices for low-income households. It exacerbating the residential segregation and concentrating poverty in certain neighborhoods. This, in turn, leads to reduced access to quality schools, healthcare, and other essential services that just further hindering upward mobility for residents. So what I would ask my colleagues to do 3 things. First is to acknowledge the inherent unfairness of judging someone's worth, their worth, based on their source of income. Regardless of how they earn their money, all individuals deserve access to safe and decent and affordable housing. This is a matter of economic justice and a fundamental human right. Second, we have to advocate for stronger fair housing laws to ensure that all Kentuckians are safely housed, a goal that I hope that we all have for our individual districts that we represent. And third, we must educate and dispel the myths surrounding housing assistance programs by sharing accurate information and highlighting the positive contributions of voucher holders so that we can break down harmful stereotypes and build mutual understanding between landlords, tenants, and the community at large. And I will close by saying this, since it was stated that no one in this room has done anything. I just co-sponsored House Bill 100 to make sure that individuals experiencing homelessness have access to a birth certificate for free. Thank you.